Good morning, it's April 13th, 2015, and this is a video from my new YouTube channel. And I know a lot about bullies. I grew up bullied. Um, some guys would think I grew up lucky. My sister Barbara Whitmire, who was a pretty blonde woman, when she was 22, her husband was in West Germany in the U.S. Army, and she moved back into our two-bedroom house, and began sleeping in my bed. Anyway, she began having sex with me, which set off a chain of events of murder, mayhem, blackmail, criminal actions. Might get into those on this video, I'm not sure. But I wasn't forced to have sex. I mean, it didn't take much to convince me. Well, anyway, I was all for it once it began. I had no idea what it was. I mean, what sex with a woman was when I was 11, but once it began, I was all for it. Anyway, at some point, because I was maybe 2 months for it, she moved into the back bedroom and began sleeping in the back bedroom in a double bed with my brother Roger. Roger's gay, Roger Caps. So, Roger, I, I mean, I don't know if she had sex with him or not. Well, or she did or didn't. I don't know. But anyway, I traded beds with Roger for a while. And at some point, he stopped trading beds with me. I was the only one to go. Roger and Tony had stopped speaking by that time because Tony's a cruel person, and I was the only go-between. Anyway, when Roger stopped trading beds with me, I stopped speaking to him because of that, and I didn't speak to him for like 36, 37 years because of the sex with Barbara. And there's another reason I stopped speaking to Tony. Tony was cruel anyway. Tony tortured animals, cats, kittens, threw a firecracker to a dog that I trained to catch food. The dog caught it and blew up in the dog's mouth. Tony laughed. I went to comfort the dog. It was probably a choice between comforting the dog and probably murdering Tony. So I comforted the dog and never didn't speak to Tony for 40 something years. Tony Caps, he lives at 349 Hartcutt Road and is a very cruel person in Marietta, South Carolina. And he works for, I think, Southern Wine and Spirits of Carolina or Southern Wine and Spirits of South Carolina. So you could figure he would be in some industry that provides misery for people. But Bob, eventually Roger stopped trading beds with me and I had to go. My mother worked at nights. My father's in the Veterans Hospital. My father came home in February of 2000. I'm sorry, not 2000, 1973, and he was murdered in a couple of days. Um, Margie began having sex with me. Margie, well, her name's Margie Mays now. She works for the Pickens County School District in Pickens, South Carolina. Anyway, it was a mess. Years later, when I was 18, and I was a very good-looking child, very good-looking young man, Barbara got me a job where she works at, and I slept at her house to ride with her in the mornings. Then she'd take me back home. My mother would drop me off on her way to work at 10 o'clock at night. Then the cycle would repeat. Barbara asked me to start our sexual relationship again. I said I didn't think it's a good idea for several reasons. Probably not because I had the highest moral reason in my head, but for other reasons. And so she took it very personally, and she's held a grudge. She tricked our mother into signing my property, which I'd given my mother with the promise it'd be returned, giving it to her in good faith, over to my sister Barbara so she would have power over me when my mother died. My sister actually worked at making my mother die. That's all going to be in the book. But then after my mother died, my mother had given me a building in the second will. I presented that to my family. They had promised our mother as she lay dying that I'd get the house. Um, I have, well, I have a lot of things on video and audio tape, but they even broke that deathbed promise. I mean, this is what kind of people they are. They break a deathbed promise to their own mother. Anyway, it all ends with me being kicked out of my home, made homeless, living in a tent because of my sister Barbara Whitmire and Marjorie Mays, Margie Capps at the time, having sex with me when I was a child, and they were adults. So it just goes to show how bullies work, and they are bullies.